our viewers to the High Court now, because the cross-examination of Richard Gyapa for the third day is over. Lateef Idris is at the court and he has the very latest. So Lateef, what is happening now?
Okay, so Elton, as we just saw in the video, we have at the forecourt of the Law Court complex for the first time protesters marching up here, protesting and showing their support for the minority leader of Parliament, Dr. Kesila Tuforsin, who is the first accused in the ongoing ambulance procurement trial, which the state says it lost some 2.37 million euros in the process. For the first time today, we also have traditional rulers from the central region coming in court, sitting just behind the minority leader of Parliament, also in solidarity of Dr. Kesila Tuforsin. Today's appearance in court is a bit different from the regular. Even for one to get access into the courtroom today, you have to go through a lot of security checks. This hasn't been the case until today. So just maybe intelligence security agencies picked was that this was going to happen, and so they put in place measures to prevent it from escalating into something else. So that is what you have here. Protesters here at the court protesting, showing their support for the minority leader of Parliament, Dr. Kesila Tuforsin. We also have the Central Regional Chairman of the opposition, NDC, also showing up here to support Dr. Kesila Tuforsin. We have members of Parliament showing up. For instance, Suhini is someone we could point out and say, he is a member of Parliament of the opposition party. He has showed up here to also show his solidarity for the leader of the minority in Parliament. Now, what is happening right now in court upstairs is that Richard Gyapa, his mouth has been sealed for now, which means that prosecution would now halt their cross-examination of Richard Gyapa at this point. But the court has been cleared of quote-unquote uninterested parties. So those in the courtroom right now are only the parties, and I'm talking about Dr. Kesila Tuforsin, Richard Gyapa, prosecution, lawyers for Richard Gyapa, and lawyers for Dr. Kesila Tuforsin. They are the only ones within the courtroom right now because the trial judge says there is something she needs to clarify. And so the rest of us are out of the courtroom waiting for them to come out to tell us exactly what they agreed on with the trial judge. But before that, we have some of the NDC opposition members coming out. So we do not know if whatever the trial judge had with the parties is resolved, and then they could go ahead and speak to us. But we would come back to that briefly. Just to run us through what exactly the focus of the cross-examination has been today. And let's put on record that right in the middle of the cross-examination today, the Attorney General himself, Godfrey Dame, jumped in and took over the cross-examination from his deputy, that is Richard Alfred Tuayebua. We'll get back to that shortly, but let's first of all listen to Sammy Gyamfi, who is the National Communications Director of the opposition NDC. He's going to address the media shortly. We cannot miss that. After that, we'll bring you details of today's cross-examination, which has focused largely on the seal and also the contract between Big C and the government of Ghana. So, Sammy Gyamfi.
Well, as the Dishonorable Attorney General Godfrey Adame has consistently demonstrated or displayed, today you saw a display of ignorance and illiteracy on very basic things that you expect a person who occupies such high office, to understand. But before I go into those issues, it's important for us to respond to certain reckless and irresponsible comments that have been made by the Dishonorable Attorney General Godfrey Adame. I'm sure that Over the last few days, you've seen videos of the Attorney General somewhere in London, in the United Kingdom, claiming that the case of the accused persons have crumbled under cross-examination. It is important to put it on record that the only person whose case has crumbled, the only person who has been exposed as a crooked character, a dishonorable character, and a liar throughout the proceedings is not Mr. Gyamfi, neither is it Honorable Atuforsen, but rather Godfred Yeboah-Dame. You would recall that when Mr. Gyamfi dropped his bombshell of 23rd May 2024 and asserted in open court under oath that the Attorney General has sought to coerce and impress upon him to implicate the Honorable Atuforsen, the Attorney General issued a press release. And in that press release, he was categorical that he has not met or contacted or sought the cooperation of any of the accused persons. He was categorical. It's been established beyond every reasonable doubt that that claim by the Attorney General was palpable falsehood. He lied. Because he himself has indeed confirmed in open court that contrary to what he stated in that press release, he's been meeting Gyamfi at odd hours. He's been calling him, he's been texting him. Yet, he claimed to the media that he had not at any point in time made contact with Mr. Gyamfi or any of the accused persons. You will also recall a claim by the spokesperson of the Attorney General that the Attorney General was entrapped. He never set out to meet Mr. Gyamfi anywhere, but that it was a Supreme Court judge who sought to meet him at his residence only for him to be ambushed by Mr. Gyamfi. That has also turned out to be a lie. Because you've seen from the evidence adduced, during cross-examination by Mr. Gyamfi, that indeed it was the Attorney General who first suggested a meeting at the residence of the said Supreme Court judge. He's the only one who has been proven to be a liar, to be a dishonorable character as far as these proceedings are concerned. You recall that when, in the aftermath of that bombshell by Mr. Gyamfi, Godfred Dame actually issued a statement and claimed publicly that he had a video of Atuforsen coming to him to beg him to drop this case. Where is the video? You media men have got silence. You are not asking for that video. You are not asking the right questions relative to that claim. Where is that video? At least we said we had an audio tape showing unprofessional and criminal conduct on his part. We promised to put that out. We have put that out. They lied that the tape was doctored. In court, they could not substantiate that claim of the tape being doctored. The tape has actually been added into evidence as authentic. So, throughout these proceedings, it is Godfred Dame who has been exposed over and over again as a liar. He's the one whose case has crumbled and not Atuforsen or Richard Gyamfi. Now, it is also important to note that as we speak, Godfred Dame has not been able to swear any oath, any affidavit to deny any of these allegations. He rather sought the services of a state attorney at his office to deny the assertions for him. Today, he was confronted by Mr. Gyamfi again with those same assertions, and you could not rebut those assertions. So clearly, Godfred Dame is a sinking man who is clutching onto straws, trying to obfuscate issues and confuse lay men, and we must treat those irresponsible comments he made in London with a pinch of salt and the contempt he deserves. But on what happened today, first of all, you saw the Deputy Attorney General urging on Mr. Gyamfi that the conversation he had with Godfred Dame was a 26-minute conversation. But some of their communicators have been making that argument, and that he only brought to court a 16-minute audio recording, trying to impugn the authenticity of that tape. But Mr. Gyamfi reiterated the point we have always made, and you couldn't see the Attorney General push back, which was that he recorded that 16 minutes, 5 seconds tape about 9 to 10 minutes into the conversation, and there is nothing wrong with that. If you call me for a conversation, and in good faith I have the conversation with you without recording, but I see that you are proceeding on a criminal tangent, at some point I can choose to record. If I even record 1 second of that conversation, and that 1 second tape captures you committing a crime, telling me to falsify my testimony, telling me to testify to your theory and what you know to be true and not what I know to be true, telling me to procure a fake medical excuse and all that. It doesn't matter that it is a 1 second tape. What matters is whether or not you said what is contained on that tape. And today, Jakpa, reiterated that point very, very beautifully. Also, you saw bare denials by the Deputy Attorney General for and on behalf of his boss about the fact that the AG told Mr. Jakpa to lie about a fake medical excuse duty because he had intimated in the conversation they had that he was sick. That clearly is not borne out by the evidence because no such claim is contained on that tape. Mr. Jakpa dared them to provide that evidence if they had it, and they couldn't provide it because there is no such evidence. In the words of Mr. Jakpa, he was fit as a fiddle on the morning of 9th April 2024 and was driving to his lawyer when the Attorney General, who is supposed to be the leader of the bar and Minister of Justice, and therefore supposed to be an apostle of the ethics of the profession, told him to lie to the courts, to contrive a fake medical excuse duty and commit a crime. And today he made that point. You saw that the AG could not push back. Again, he reiterated his point that Ken Ofori-Atta and President Akufo-Addo had been mounting pressure on the Attorney General to pursue a clear case of witch hunts. And that this was what Godfrey Dami told him. They sought to deny, but he reinforced it, and they could not push back with any credible, fact or evidence. Neither could they dispute the claim by Jakpa that at one of the meetings he had with the Attorney General at the residence of Justice Kolendi, the Attorney General, the Honorable Godfrey Dami, actually said that fancies are cheap, and that if Honorable Atoforsen perished that thought is convicted, they will have the opportunity to hold a by-election and influence fancies with money. Well, we have news for Godfrey Dami and the MPP. Fancies are not cheap. They are very discerning. And they demonstrated that at Asenoff, when in spite of the monetization and the attempt to influence them with money, they voted in line with good conscience, voted for the Honorable Judge Kwesi. So they are terribly wrong if they think that fancies are cheap people. But I know that the good people of the central region will take these issues into consideration.
A quick one. How surprised would you say you were when you saw the Attorney General himself in the middle of cross-examination by his deputy jumping in, taking over to go at Richard Jakpa? Were you surprised in any way? And where do you see him going with his line of questioning?
Well, I'm not surprised because what he's doing is playing hide and seek. You see, on issues that border on assertions, evidence given about Mr. Jakpa, about the person of the Attorney General, he's running away. He's not able to bite the bullet. He's not able to stand up to Jakpa and cross-examine him. He's not able to confront Jakpa with any contrary evidence. So, Wafa lawyer, and his lawyer is either Evelyn, the DPP, or his deputy, poor deputy from my region, Tuyayeboa. So they are doing that dirty work for him because he himself lacks the courage to confront Mr. Jakpa on those assertions that borders on his person. The man says you met him around 12 a.m. on the 9th of 26 March. True or false? That one, you want Tuyayeboa, poor Tuyayeboa, to do that for you? The man says you told him that fancies are cheap. The man says you told him that Ken Ofori-Atta and Akufo-Addo were giving you pressure to persecute Atoforsen. Tuyayeboa was not there. You and I were not there. Only Godfrey Dami was there. Why can't he do that cross-examination? Always shifting the goalpost. You understand? That is the game he's playing. I was not surprised at all. Even on the issues he himself has decided to pursue under cross-examination, which is about the terms of the contracts, the role of Jakpa, and all that, he is displaying ignorance. This is an Attorney General who, you heard on that tape we released, was misconstruing a letter of credit as advance payments. Clear illiteracy. He thinks that a letter of credit that has clear condition precedence, it constitutes advance payment. Clear illiteracy. Today, too, you heard him in open court suggesting that an ISO certification, which is renewed annually and which is acquired by duly incorporated entities, organizations, companies, for purposes of quality assurance. He was confusing an ISO certification with an incorporation documentation. He thinks that if you see an ISO certificate, it is a certificate of a registration of a company. This man is bankrupt in knowledge about the issues before the courts. He is a walking shame, a walking embarrassment. And he continues to make, he continues to ridicule himself because he clearly doesn't understand the issues he's pushing. What is the issue about whether or not Mr. Gyamfi passed a promotional examination? What does that got to do with this case? What is the issue about some so-called 68 messages which Gyamfi refused to provide a court? Which messages, 90%, constitute motivational messages that Mr. Gyamfi has been broadcasting to people on his list? What is the relevance of those so-called motivational messages to the case at heart? The guy has been wasting everybody's time in court. You understand? And contriving to the extent that they are even contriving official government documents. You saw Mr. Gyamfi trying to make that point. The rules, of course, didn't allow that, and so the judge did not allow that. But I know that an opportunity will be created by his lawyers for him to make that point very forcefully. This issue about his release letter from the military and why he was released from the military and all that are issues that will be strongly contested with evidence, because Gyamfi maintains that what they have brought to court is clearly fake, doctored, and contrived. But all these issues have got nothing to do with the critical issues at stake. Did Ato Forson have authorization to write those letters or not? His boss, the finance minister, Setekpe, has come to court to say, I authorize him. They are saying that even though you say you authorize him, give us paper. How many ministers of state write letters to their deputies when authorizing them on a daily basis to take action, or when delegating responsibility to them? Master, is that the standard practice? That if Godfrey Dame is giving his deputy Tuyan Yeboah a delegated responsibility, he must always write? Setekpe says, I authorize him. He's Ato Forson on the face of the letter, signed for the minister. He kept the minister in copy. The minister, knowing the consequences of his admission that he authorized Ato Forson, has come to court and said, if at all anything wrong was done, because nothing wrong was done, but if at all anything wrong was done, you have the wrong man, because I authorize him. That one to you say you don't want it, because President Akufo-Addo is giving you pressure to go after Ato Forson because you think Fantas are cheap. You think Fantas are fools. You understand? I believe so. I believe so. But what you see here is just symbolic. It is just, a reflection of the outreach that an overwhelming majority of Fantas across the country feel, the revulsion they feel about this distasteful, comment that was made by the Attorney General. And the most important thing is that till date he has not been able to dispute it. He himself has not been able to swear an oath. Master, ask Godfrey Dame when he comes out of the court, that why can't you swear an oath like Gyamfi has sworn an oath testifying to these issues? If Gyamfi lies under oath, there will be consequences. He can go to jail for perjury. Godfrey Dame doesn't want to go under oath because of two things. Once he swears an oath, he knows that he can be cross-examined. He is afraid of cross-examination. Number two, he knows that if he swears an oath and lies, that he never met Gyamfi, he never told him Fantas are cheap, he never told him to contrive a fake medical excusability, he never told him to implicate Ato Forson. When he peddled those lies, not in a press release, but under oath, he knows he can be prosecuted tomorrow for the offense of perjury. That is what he's running away from. And you allow him to get off the hook, and today he has the effrontery. This crooked, dishonorable character has the effrontery to go and stand in London and run his mouth. When you are the first Attorney General in the history of this country who has been reprimanded by a court of competent jurisdiction as having brought or occasioned discomfiture, in other words, embarrassment to the courts, having undermined the judicial process, for which reason you have been advised to stay away from the proceedings, and you are refusing to heed the advice. And if you will not heed the advice, come and cross-examine to kwani, hide and seek. when it is about issues about your person, you are dodging like a coward sitting in your chair, whispering into the ears of your deputy. Why can't you do the cross-examination yourself?
You keep referring to the deputy as, or what do you mean?
Who?
You keep referring to
Oh, because what is his role in this matter? What is his role in this matter? In all the meetings they had under the cover of darkness, he was not there. And it is very sad that he has allowed himself to be used this way. Because you were not there. And yet you are putting it to Mr. Jakpa that my boss never told you that fancies are cheap. Were you there? Were you there?
It's a prosecution case, you would agree?
It's the case of the prosecution. But it's hearsay. Was he there? I put it to you, was he there?
Should that not strengthen your case rather?
Of course, it strengthens our case. And it also allows us the opportunity to make these arguments, exposing the Attorney General. He is a coward. If he thinks that what Jakpa is saying are not true, he should confront him under cross-examination.
So that's the communication officer of the National Democratic Congress, Sammy Gyamfi. We'll take you back when the Attorney General and his deputies are out of the court to also get their reaction to today's hearing in court. But the matter relates to the ambulance trial, which is still ongoing. Richard Jakpa, the third accused, was cross-examined by the Deputy Attorney General today. Sammy Gyamfi was giving his reaction about what transpired in the courtroom today. We'll take you back to the courthouse when the Attorney General or his deputies are out, as we also seek their reaction to today's hearing. We'll also take you to the Electoral Commission office, where CSOs, that civil society organizations, are engaging the Electoral Commission ahead of the December 7th election. They are asking for transparency in the electoral process. We are also in Parliament because there's an attempt by the Trade and Industry Minister to lay a legislative instrument that will regulate cement prices in the country. Today, he appeared before the Subsidiary Legislation Committee at a pre-laying conference to determine whether the airline has any space in the mother law, that is the Ghana Standards Authority law. These are matters we are keeping an eye on, will bring order to you. But we are in court. As soon as the Attorney General or his deputies are out and you have a reaction, we'll take you live to the court. This is the court.